everybody today. This is one of many demonstrations all across this country on the issue of stopping the war on Syria. The groups that in this area, hundreds of groups signed on to a call for these national days of protest. The groups in this area that are sponsoring this are United National Anti-War Coalition, United for Justice with Peace, the International Action Center, ANSWER, Veterans for Peace, Smedley Butler Brigade, Committee for Peace and Human Rights, and Massachusetts Peace Action. As you can see, it's a broad array of groups that are coming together to try to stop the next war on Syria, one of many. Why are we in Syria? This country puts out rhetoric that says we don't want to see violence. How can you stop violence with putting in more arms and threatening no-fly zones? Did we see less violence when they went into Libya? Did we see less violence when they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan and all the other countries around the world? No. They say we're for democracy. How the hell can we have democracy when they're taking away even the simplest voting rights from people all across this country? That's supposedly the epitome of democracy, when you can vote for Tweedledee or Tweedledum, and you can't even do that, especially if you're black, or if you're Latino, or if you're poor, or if you're an immigrant, or if you're a Muslim. They say, therefore, freedom, yet they take freedom away from people all over the world. They say, therefore, justice. What about justice for Trayvon Martin? What about justice for the people, the mass incarceration of African American youth? What about justice when they go after anyone that tells the whistleblowers? What about Bradley Manning? What about Edward Snowden? What about the fact that they want Julian Assange to be brought to justice in this country? There is no justice in this country. They also say that they want, I think closer to the truth is like, why are there 900 American bases all over this world? Closer to the truth is that when they say we want to protect American interests. What do they mean by American interests? It sure isn't our interests. Closer to the truth is that they are protecting their interests, and their interests are the people that have the money and the power. And the corporate interest, the financial interest, that is what they're protecting. And
billion from U.S. weapons sales alone. So needless to say, the United States stands significantly to gain from U.S. weapons sales alone to these 6 countries. And that's 79% of the developing nations market, needless to say, a pretty significant amount. So as everybody, I hope, agrees, sending military supplies to Syria would have the polar opposite effect of promoting any peace in the region. And even though most of us may have long since given up contacting our elected legislators, I urge you to get after both Senator Warren and newly elected Senator Markey and let them know that we're watching them. I have followed around Senator Markey when he was still our congressional rep out in Metro West where I lived, and he has literally celebrated, and I mean celebrated, when the U.S. and Israel destroyed Lebanon. He literally celebrated the day after 1,200 innocent civilians were killed, most of them children. I was there witnessing him hooting and hollering and cheering and singing at a temple in Lexington, Massachusetts. So I know that some of you think, well, at least they're Democrats, at least they're a little bit on our side, well, at least they will represent the voice of the left better. They will not, and you need to join me in getting after them. Jam the switchboard, call their offices, let them know that we're watching them and we oppose any U.S. military intervention in Syria. Thanks, everybody.
Because the judge refused to give a directed verdict of not guilty on the basis of the government's evidence. And closing arguments will be next week, so a decision is going to be coming down in that case pretty quickly. But they all kind of go together. The struggle to free Bradley Manning, the struggle for asylum for the heroic Edward Snowden, the struggle to save Julian Assange, the struggle for all political prisoners to try to free Lynn Stewart. All of these struggles, all these political struggles, and the struggle against war, the continuing war in Afghanistan, the impending war, or the involvement, the escalation of U.S. involvement in Syria, they all hook in together with the domestic situation. So we have a lot of different struggles, but it's all the same fight. And I'm glad.
All death is horrific, especially in a situation where Trayvon was literally murdered, and it was just, it breaks my heart to even think of it. Now, I'm a combat veteran, and I've seen a lot of death, and I've seen a lot of war, and I've seen a lot of nasty things. But to see this happen in my country, to see thousands of people die by gunfire every year is something that we need not see. We need to put an end to this. Let us not forget that the Constitution starts with the three largest words, we the people. And we the people have the power to put an end to these travesties. Now, one of the other things that we want to talk about is staying out of Syria and other places that we go to. We don't need death, destruction, war. We're working together as brothers and sisters in trying to bring about a peaceful world where we can all live in harmony.
Gotta go now. The Afghanis told me to my face, we don't want you Americans here. They'll take our money, but they don't want our physical military presence there. They used to tell me this. A bunch of Afghanis, because I got to know them. A lot of them speak English, interpreters. They don't want us there, but, you know, they have no choice. Their government let our government send our soldiers there to fight. And I see why some of their soldiers turn on American soldiers and shoot them. They get sick of it. Yeah, it's time to pull out. We got to get out of there, man. I was there for 1 year, and 2000. It's time to go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I wrote a statement today that I kind of want to refer to as I talk about sort of the interconnections between the war on Black America and the war that's going on in Syria. So, George Zimmerman was acquitted on July 13th, but many people don't know that a month before that, the Obama administration announced that it was going to send direct military aid to the so-called Syrian rebels, or the proxies, that are responsible for the instability in Syria right now. Both of these developments sort of show that the U.S. criminal injustice system and the U.S. war machine are conducting two interrelated wars right now. A war on Black America and a war on Syria and all sovereign countries abroad.